We meet again, Chief. This is Locked On Blues.
You're Locked On Blues, your daily podcast on the St. Louis Blues. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and a happy Thursday, October 24th, and welcome back to Locked On Blues. I am your host of Locked On Blues, Haley Taylor Simon, talking to you all things about our St. Louis Blues here on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Oh, Coach Berube, the Blues and Leafs play each other tonight, and a lot of emotion surrounding playing the former coach that gave the Blues their Stanley Cup win. Yep. Lines and pairings and what I like about Binner. So we have a lot to talk about on today's episode of Locked On Blues. Again, busy episode today, but I want to tell you that today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDON NHL for $20 off your first purchase. Hello. Wow. The NHL really said we're going to make this scheduling happen as quickly as possible for these two teams to face because there's definitely going to be emotion heading into this game. So I'm just going to speak from my heart right now, and then I'll get into things that Coach Berube said and things that even Bannister said about Berube and so on. But if there's one person that I miss on the Blues more than anybody, it is 100% my chief, Craig Berube. Listen, the Blues, they weren't good enough last season. Do I think them firing him was the right decision? No. Do I stand by that statement? Yes. Do I still like Bannister? Yes. But do I wish that it was Berube instead? Absolutely. I think that it's easy to put the blame on the coach. We see this happen all the time in the NHL. A team's not doing good, so who do you blame? Not the players, but the coach. It happens. It makes no sense to me because I get it. Oh, the locker room's going to end up changing. But I mean, at the end of the day, Coach Berube got your team literally the Stanley Cup, which is something that no other coach in Blues franchise history could do. But, you're having a bad season. And I know it wasn't the best seasons before that. However, at the end of the day, isn't it more about the players and the contracts? So it's kind of more on the higher ups. There's only so many things that Coach Berube could do. And again, I think it was wrong. And I said this, when I was talking initially about Coach Berube being fired and being dealt to the Leafs when he signed with them. Well, I'm making it sound like he's a player, but yes, he still has signed a contract. I said when Berube got fired initially, the Blues were going to regret it because the team is going to pick him up and they're going to find enormous success, okay? He obviously gets picked up by the Toronto Maple Leafs this offseason. And what I will say is this. I still believe that, again, I know the Leafs want the cup, and I don't want them to get the cup. However, I feel like if there's any coach that could help them get there, it is 100% Craig Berube. Now, it's funny. The Leafs and the Blues do have the same record, being 4-3. So I do actually find that funny. It's like head-to-head. But, again, there's no other coach in NHL history that means as much to me as Craig Berube does. So as a fan, I'm excited. I am excited to, see him again behind the bench. I mean, because I'm only watching Blues hockey. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not watching Toronto Maple Leafs hockey. I'm watching Blues hockey. So it will be nice to see him again. And it's a lot of emotion there, even as a fan, right? Because, again, we know of Joseph, okay, yeah, but with Berube, it's like, oh, this man is the reason why I had the accomplishment of watching my team hoist the cup, because I didn't hoist the cup. The team did. However, I think it just goes to show that, he is a very special person to all of us here in St. Louis. And I just had to speak from the heart. Usually I go dive right into, things that are said. but I just felt like it was appropriate to really just reiterate how much Craig Berube meant to me. He means to you. So leave me a comment down below because, again, that Stanley Cup, that's what did it. So leave me your favorite moment from that cup run down below. And again, the fact that Chief was able to come in that season and take the Blues from being the worst team in the Western Conference at the end of January all the way to Cup champs is truly incredible. I think about hand pass all the time. There were so many memories. So forever we'll miss Chief. So Coach Bannister was asked about Berube, and he said that he's done a lot of training camps with him. It's been a lot of times with him, and at the end of the day, it's just a game, and I get that, which is valid. And during Craig Berube's presser today after morning skate, he was asked about it, and he said a lot of emotion, but once puck drops, he has to focus on the game, and it's very important that his team gets the 2 points tonight, which we don't want to happen for Craig Berube tonight. I think it's a very emotional thing because he was asked about his relationship with Doug, and he said it was fine. But I can't imagine it's a good feeling knowing that the team that you got the cup with is coming. It's a lot. He did like that he was able to catch up with some players and talk to them, and he says he looks back and it's nothing but fond memories, which is nice. In good old Chief fashion, he cracked a couple jokes about his ring and said, "Oh yeah, my wife probably has it," and then joked that she might have sold it because he hasn't seen it in a while. But it was nice to hear him laugh about it. It is a very highly emotional setting for the Chief. For any Blues fan, I think that's the reason why everyone's so hyper focused on tonight's game. It's because we're going to be seeing Coach Berube again. And I have to give credit to where credit is due because there are some amazing Blues reporters out there, right? I cannot wait to see the Blues again in person and actually talk to the guys. However, Jeremy Rutherford, who does a great job reporting, by the way, for The Athletic, had a one-on-one with Craig Berube. And I'm going to be only able to read you a few quotes because I just want you to know some of the things that Berube said. And again, I think that he is a fantastic reporter. So again, credit to Jeremy. In this game, you have a certain time limit. It was probably time to move on. That's the way I look at it. I don't really like to dwell on it. I had a great run there, a great time, and things happen. You've got to move on from it, and I did. So that was Craig Berube on essentially the whole entire run with St. Louis that he had. And then another thing is too, I did mention about Drew Bannister. Well, here's the exact quote. I have a ton of respect for Craig. I spent 5 years with him and learned a lot from him. Certainly want our players and staff and organization. And there's a ton of respect in that room. But at the end of the day, it's two coaches trying to win a hockey game. I know. It's tough. So my friend Blues Moose also posted a stat with the Blues. Craig Berube had 381 games played. He was 206, 131, and 44. He was part of the first Stanley Cup in franchise history, 4 playoff appearances out of 5 full seasons. The best coach in history. If that doesn't say what it is, and I hate to be this way because I feel like I'm so negative about it, but was there anybody that was a fan of this team that actually wanted to see Coach Berube go, or was it kind of like we all felt blindsided? I just thought that maybe they would make a trade or they would make a move, not get rid of Coach Berube. I know that, last season was my first season doing this podcast, and my reaction was genuine. I was genuinely upset. I was genuinely like, I don't want to say heartbroken, but it felt like that, right? It just seemed to me that the way that he was fired, essentially, there was not a lot of respect for him because, again, He was your only coach in franchise history that got this team the Stanley Cup. I just don't see how getting rid of him was going to help the Blues in any way. But you know what? It's done with. He's of Toronto, and I am still upset. But I went and talked to my friends over at FanDuel. Hey, NFL fans, you can start the season with a big return on FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. You'll get started with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com. Listen. I was literally talking to you about the NFL schedule last night, and I said those 5-1 Minnesota Vikings are going to be at Los Angeles tonight. I would still take the Vikings, but luckily with FanDuel, if you're not 100% sure, I mean, I know nobody is when it comes to betting, right? You can't always say, oh yeah, this is a guarantee lock. You can just do it in the middle of the game and you will still make that money. Trust me, I did something kind of similar last Sunday. I lost. However, that loss was on me, but FanDuel allowed me to at least bet during the game, which a lot of apps don't do. So, Robert Thomas is out. I am still very upset about that, by the way. Very upset about Robert Thomas being out. And I want to play for you an audio from Coach Bannister and Robert Thomas. I played it yesterday, but I want to play it again because I am still trying to fully process that the best player on this St. Louis Blues team is out with a fractured ankle. And a great commenter of this podcast said, "Hell, fractured ankles don't heal within 6 weeks. Sometimes it can take 2 years. So even if he is back, he can still be in pain." And again, I don't know how this is happening. I really don't get the hockey gods on this one. Anyways, here's Coach Bannister on Robert Thomas.
Not the news you were hoping to hear this morning.
Yeah, unfortunate news for the team and for Robbie too. And the timing of it, I thought he played a great game last night up to the point of his injury. But I think it's a great opportunity for our team really to build as a team and once we get him back, whether it's 4 to 6 weeks or but it's important for us. Obviously, we're going to need guys to step up in certain roles.
Yeah, so we talked about how this is a great opportunity for the team, and Robbie's upset. Obviously, he's upset. Like, he's injured. But yeah, just like Sundqvist is back, and I'm happy for him. I am, but it's just I'm so disappointed about Robert Thomas. And I kept on rewatching that play, and it didn't look as bad as I guess it was, but it did go off of his ankle area. So I get how it happened. I just don't understand. Out of all the fluky things to happen, that had to happen to Robert Thomas. Captain Braden Shen was basically saying, we have to step up. It sucks losing your star player. And it does. However, these lines, and I don't mean this with any disrespect at all, these lines are not it. Okay? Maybe it will work. Maybe I'm just negative because I don't see the name Thomas in this lineup tonight. But I'm going to read you off the lines for the Blues' projected lineup at Toronto. So, again, deep breaths. We will get through this together, but I am still upset. On the first line, Saad to the left, Shen centering, and Neighbors on the right. Yep, so it looks like Captain Braden Shen will be centering on the first line, and Jake Neighbors is back in. He had a maintenance day yesterday, which was confirmed already, and Sonny was holding his spot. So if you're coming from yesterday's episode and you're like, oh my gosh, Oscar Sundqvist is on the first line, no, it is Jake Neighbors. On the second line, Texier, Bush, and Cairo. All right, that's fine. Third line, Joseph Holloway, Kapanen. Kapanen on the third line. Yeah, I'm not having a good time here, dogs. On the fourth line, Torpachenko, Foxa, Sundqvist. Oh, man. Walker's out, by the way. Suter, Parayko, first pair. Broberg, Folk, the second pair. Joseph, Perunovich. Scott Perunovich is in the lineup tonight. Why did I just yell that so loud? My neighbors are going to hate me. Sorry. But yes, Scotty P gets a chance tonight. It was said yesterday that this would most likely happen, but now it is happening. I mean, I like Matthew Kessel. I mean, man, at 24 years old, you're coming into the season, you don't have to spend time between the Thunderbirds and the Blues, and you're not playing like the way you did last season, which is disappointing. I mean, here's the thing. I get it. You come into a season, it's a new year, you're not going to play the same exact way, but it's the energy and effort level. And I hope and I'm sure that he is putting in effort, and I'm not denying that, but it just doesn't come across on the ice like that. And I don't mean to be harsh or, too critical, because I understand how difficult this game is. However, you just need to see more out of some of these players. And Matthew Kessel was just one of those guys that I just wasn't seeing enough out of, and neither was Coach Bannister. So that's why he got scratched tonight. And this gives Scott Perunovich a chance to, show what he's worth. They all said on the power play that, the next guy that's most like Torrey Krug is Scott Perunovich. Well, now here's your chance. And, they had him working, I think, on power play unit 2, I want to say. But he might get a chance to show that off tonight. He might earn himself another opportunity again. They still have the Canadiens, the Senators, the Flyers on this road trip. So we might see Perunovich play again. But the way that I would approach tonight, take tonight like it's your Stanley Cup Game 7, Stanley Cup Final Game 7, let me reiterate, and play your heart out, because they extended you. They see potential in you. I can also understand and be sympathetic that during the preseason, you just weren't displaying enough. So I think for Perunovich tonight is one of those wake-up calls where you have to go all out or go all home, right? So I am happy that he is in the lineup tonight. Okay, but you know what else I like about tonight? I like that you and me can use Game Time if we want to see the Blues this season. So let me talk to you more about Game Time and why I love it so much. Game Time has a new feature called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets for your favorite live events even easier. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. Listen, they have the super deal. It is so, so good, okay? Because it's curated deals to make it even easier to find the best prices on great seats. You get seat views before you buy, and you get the lowest price guarantee, event cancellation protection, and job loss protection, and more. Game Time Picks is curated to make it even easier to save more in sports, concerts, comedy, theater, and more. I love the all-in price feature where you get to see what the total price of the ticket will be, even with the fees included. So there's no guessing game. You know exactly what you're going to get. I love the seat views that you can, as I said, see the seat where you're going to sit before you even buy the ticket. Sometimes I just do that for fun to check out how an arena looks. But this is what I want you to do. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDON, LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game time. I know there was one player I didn't mention when I was reading the lines and pairings, and that is who is in net tonight. Well, the player in net, it is Jordan Binnington. The reason why I did not say him is because I had a whole segment on him. So today, Coach Bannister was asked about Jordan Binnington between the pipes, and about, whole face the nations and, what they're doing inside the All-Star game, right? I do believe that Binner will be selected to be the starting goalie for Team Canada. I do. Now, I know there's other talented Canadian goalies. And again, it's not a disrespect. It is purely just one of those things where, I don't know, like, I just feel like he would be the best option. I mean, you do have Stuart Skinner, you have Aiden Hill, you have Marc-Andre Fleury, Cam Talbot, Rogan Thompson, Tristan Jarry. But like for whatever reason in my head, I'm just like Jordan Binnington is still so good. Like Mackenzie Blackwood, it's not a disrespect, but literally on a struggling San Jose team. I say put Jordan Binnington in net. I'm biased. I just love seeing Binner play and watching him this summer at Worlds with his backup goalie in the Blues and backing him up in the Worlds. Joel Hofer behind him was incredible. It meant a lot to me because I love the game of hockey, and seeing my goalie, play in that type of level is exciting. I'm not Canadian, but however, I do love seeing him play and would enjoy that. So, anyways, Bannister spoke about Binner and said, I coach him during juniors. He's so smart, has a great hockey IQ, and went on and on about him. I do believe that he is getting more respect because I'm seeing more national media members reporting positively on number 50, which again, I don't understand why that wasn't happening before. But I mean, this season he has a save percentage of 891, which is, goals against in a game are 3. He's 1-3 in terms of wins and losses and OT. Yeah. Like I get that the statistics this season are not great. I mean, you look at, Joel Hofer and he's 932, 2 goals against per game. He's 3-0 this season, 1 shutout. However, Hofer was facing easier teams. I mean, again, there was a loss to Winnipeg, a loss to Minnesota, a loss to the VGK. But again, that loss to the VGK, they were in it. The loss to Winnipeg, they were in it. Minnesota was the only game where you can really be like, yeah, they weren't in it at all. But it's early on. The point is, it's really hard to judge how a player is going to do in net this early because it's not like you're a forward or defenseman where you could be playing all the games. You're playing, especially this goalie Tatum, you're going to be playing a little bit more than Joel Hofer, but not like significantly more. So there is a lot that I like about Jordan Binnington. He had some fantastic saves against Winnipeg, some fantastic saves against the VGK. Like, he is a top tier goalie, and he's one of the best in the NHL, and I'm still going to stand by that, right? However, I think that this season it's a couple of bad games for, Binner, The win against Seattle, awesome. Love to see that. And then it kind of just kept going. He's 31. He's not old, right? He still is going to be okay. But yeah, statistically, it may not look the best. But I mean, his response time, man, watch him in net with those glove saves. His response time is something special. So, Binner, there's still a lot that I like about you. And I really do believe that tonight will be a win for you in net. All right, St. Louis, I will talk to you tomorrow reacting to that game against the Toronto Maple Leafs. And, well, we'll face the Leafs relatively soon again. I believe it is November 2nd. I'll talk to you soon. And like always, let's go Blues.